The go. We are live. Hey, this is Fabulous Friday, captive audience. I'm Sunny Danforth in Northeast Oregon, and
And I'm not.
you're not. You're David Darnell, my co-host.
From Southern Oregon.
Yes.
If you live in
So,
Oregon, then it's not necessarily Fabulous Friday, although it could be, but it could always be Freaky Friday.
uh-oh. Okay, what's going on that's Freaky Friday down there?
Well, I think everybody, I think the whole state is kind of freaked out because it was 2 years ago that the entire state was on fire. 2 years ago at this time, that the whole state was on fire, and of course the not the precursor, but the fuel for that was this wind event, which apparently Western Oregon is having right now. Where I'm in Southern Oregon, the wind is, I can see the trees, the wind is not blowing, but it's my understanding that up in the valley, the same east wind that burned, a million acres in 2020 is blowing right now. And so everybody's kind of freaked out up there. I came
Well,
through Eugene about 9 or 10 o'clock this morning, about 10 o'clock this morning, I guess. And it was all of the smoke from the cedar fire, which has been, kind of just swirling around, going in different directions, is now all coming east. And so Eugene was pretty filled up with smoke.
yeah, and there is, so as right before we launched, we were comparing the smoke in your area, the smoke in my area. You are, Bobby saying, I'm waiting for the arson to start on I-5 again. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, Bobby. I was having that conversation with somebody today.
I had that conversation with Karen, I think with Karen a couple of days ago, or maybe I just had it in my head, but she mentioned it as well. It's one thing to have these public safety power shutoffs, which is another way of saying that the serving utilities don't want to be liable for any fire. Not that they probably care too much about safety, but a lot more about being sued into oblivion. But while we're shutting down the power, does that shut down arsons too? Does that shut down the seemingly improbability of the 2020 fires that lined the I-5 corridor to the east?
No, I don't think so. It's not going to shut down the arsons if they're happening. And in fact, usually when you get these winds, high winds or reversing winds, that's when arsonists come out of the woodwork. I know when they have Santa Ana's down in Southern California, that's when the arsonists come out of the woodwork, and you see these fires coming out. And actually, I was telling someone today about a post I saw on Facebook from the fire that's up here in the Eagle Caps, and a person, it's bow hunting season. If you don't know, it's bow season, and so there's hunters out. And they had a fellow had posted that he saw the beginning smoke of one of the small fires, and he was kicking himself for not going and putting it out. And yet they're saying it's lightning caused. He says, I've been out here for days. There hasn't been any lightning. So was that an arson fire? I have no idea. Was this the arson making the post? I have no idea, because that was actually I thought, wait a minute. If you're saying you could have put it out, I wonder if you're the one who started it. I have no idea. But it is when this is the time of year that the arsons are coming out of the woodwork. But we've got a lot of friends. I know, David, that we have a lot of friends that are being affected by these power shutoffs from the fires. And I've heard the winds are pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a matter of fact, there's a fire that started not too long ago. Looks like about an hour and a half ago. No. 2 hours ago, down in Marion County. Looks like it was on the side of a road. Vegetation fire is what Pulse Point calls it. I subscribe to Pulse Point, so I get updates on all the stuff that's going on. But yeah, okay. It's kind of everybody's worried because with this wind blowing, a small fire can turn into a large catastrophe very easily. And of course, arsonists know that. I mean, with the way the wind house through the gorge in Portland, you could probably burn Portland down with a little bit of coordinated effort if you're so inclined.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely can. And so while we have these, the power being shut off to residents or to communities, I won't just say residents because it's to communities. I really feel for those that have medical needs, and if they don't have way to generate power, and yet they're on oxygen or whatever the case may be, a home dialysis. I had seen somebody post that on social media as well. You can't. It's very difficult. You can't save them all, but people do need to be. People need to be prepared. And it's nice they at least gave a lot of warning. This is coming. We've got friends that are receiving texts and emails and what have you, and it's been all over the media that this is coming, for people to be prepared and take whatever precautions they need for it.
Yeah, the public safety power shutoff, the PSPS, was broadcast on the emergency broadcasting system in the valley yesterday when I was driving up there. And Lori says that there is another fire that just started in South.
So it's started somewhere. So there's a lot of power outages, and along with that is coming up. You froze up there, Dave. Go ahead if you would like to continue.
Yeah, I can never figure out where I left off when I froze off. So.
Okay, yeah, you were talking about a new fire that started.
Lori said that there was one in South Salem off of Kubler. I don't think it's the same one, Lori, because I think this one's closer to like Independence.
So then we have 6 counties are facing blackouts, and yet our governor is eyeing an electric car mandate, much like California has, and the governor there has done a mandate on electric cars by whenever it is, 2035 or 2030, and yet the very next day it was, we're having blackouts and don't plug your cars in. I mean, how's this going to work?
Well, it's not going to work because, if you own an electric vehicle, which the governor and the ruling party, the progressive leftist agenda-driven elite in Salem, if you're one of those car owners, if you get a level 1 evacuation notice, right, you're going to make sure your car's charged, I assume,
right, to get the hell out.
Yeah, and you get your level 2, and you're gonna still make sure that your car is charged. But these power shutdowns are happening where there is not even an evacuation notice. So if a fire does start, which a few of them have, I don't know if they don't seem to be in the shutdown areas. I looked at the shutdown areas pretty good. They're mostly kind of wooded areas. But if your power is already shut down, all of a sudden a fire starts and you get an evacuation notice. Now what? What are you going to do now? My car's
exactly. Exactly. And your car, and you really can't go far in an electric car. And then I think many of us of our you and I and many of our audience viewers have seen the meme about the Tesla that's got the rack on the back, generator and a couple of gas cans. And there you go. Go get go buy an electric car and make sure you've got your generator in the back.
So we're going to talk about the closing of the Boardman plant, right? And the Boardman coal plant was nothing really more than the Boardman Tesla fuel factory. These are Tesla fuel factories. These are EV fuel factories. These are refineries for EVs. They're the same. They're the same as the refineries in Texas and all over the country, except for they make electricity for EVs. So if you're shutting these things down, and you're indicating that your agenda is to get rid of gas-powered cars by a very near future. None of that makes sense. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. There's no logic behind it. There's no. We don't have enough power as it is.
No, no, we don't.
And the infrastructure is apparently a bit old, or at least not maintained well enough that we can keep the electricity on during high wind events. So, a lot of this just isn't making sense. I mean, if you're a business person, God, if you're just a normal person that uses reason, logic, and simple problem solving skills, you're going to look at this and go, this doesn't work. We have to change something, and
Right.
Of course they're not.
And closing the Boardman coal plant, they were supposed to be, they've closed it. Now they want to demolish it. And I worry about that because look at Europe right now. They are firing up their coal plants, and France is firing up their nuclear plants. Things are happening. Things are changing. And frankly, I think the Green New Deal is crumbling because of this. And so you bring a point of, so the coal plant in Boardman was going to be shuttered. One, there was so many restrictions put on for emission control that it wasn't feasible to keep it open. But yet it burned clean, right? It burned clean. How much cleaner does it have to be when you are restricting American power manufacturing, and China and India and many other nations don't give a flip about that.
Yeah.
They do not have the emissions control that we've got. And I'm all for clean air. We're for clean air, but not to the detriment of business or producing energy. And so
you can't shut down the economy.
No, you can't. And then they said, well, we're going to replace that plant with a liquefied natural gas generating plant. Well, now they've scrapped that and said they're not. Well, this is a problem, because the only reason that Boardman, from what I understand, was going to be shuttered was for that LNG generating plant to come online. And now they're not going to do that. And so you mentioned a very good point. Well, we don't have enough electricity as it is. Do you know, with data centers and data mining are huge consumers of electricity.
That's why they're located
Huge
here.
consumers. And they are purchasing electricity at cheaper rates than you are or I am. Okay, well, that's wholesale, right? But yet they're going to have power when you and I are not going to, I believe.
The main objective, Lori, is money. It's always about money. It's never not always about money. This whole green thing is a scam. But you're absolutely.
It's a shell game.
It is. It's
a nation building enrichment.
I mean, you asked, how clean does it have to be? Well, you ask one of these agenda-driven leftists, how clean does it have to be? And they go, oh, it's simple. You just run it on electricity. Well, where the hell does the electricity come from? Oh, it comes from solar panels and windmills. Well, when your Tesla runs out of fuel on I-84 in the middle of a hot day, call AAA and have them bring you 5 gallons of wind energy.
Right.
Or maybe even 10 gallons of wind energy to get you going again, because that's just not how it works. And in the United States of America, we have more natural gas than we can possibly. We have enough natural gas to almost meet all of our needs and almost meet all of the needs of Western Europe. And it's one of the cleanest energy sources there is. And to not build those, to not utilize that, to not utilize hydro, we're still talking about taking out dams because apparently dams are not fish friendly. Oregon has passed a law. You can no longer have nuclear power, which is the cleanest and the cheapest power that we have available and reliable, unlike wind and solar. There's just, you can't you can't build the electric vehicle house on a foundation of sand, and that's what they want to do.
Well, that is what they want to do, and yet we could have hydrogen vehicles, and that's a byproduct of gas. But I want to flip our subject here just a minute. Why is our president killing us energy, killing all of our energy in the United States? This goes beyond Oregon. We've been talking about what's going on in Oregon, but yet there's fewer gas leases. We don't have a story on this, but we're going to make one for a little bit. And yet Europe, we could be helping Europe. We could be helping our nation and helping Europe.
Yeah. I mean, Europe is completely and totally at the hands of Russia and Putin, regardless of what you think about Putin. If you think he's a good guy or a bad guy, doesn't really matter. But he's in the driver's seat over there. And as I had mentioned before, we could be shipping them all of the natural gas, or pretty much all. I think about 80%. We could ship them if we had LNG export facilities, which are constantly proposed and then shut down by litigation from the enviro Nazis. I think generally speaking, they want to make everything more expensive. I think probably the agenda is to bring energy prices in the United States of America, which has typically been some of the lowest in the world, up to what is now with a tenfold increase, the most expensive energy in the world, which is in Europe. And it's always about money. I think on a larger agenda, I think Marjorie says it, or who said it there? Yeah, Marjorie said it. I mean, the goal has always been by globalists to destroy America, because America is the shining light on the hill of freedom and individual liberty. And if you destroy that, then you can have all your utopian, whatever, new world order, whatever you want to call it, stuff. But America has always stood in that way.
Well, we've been the great experiment in free market capitalist society and open business, and letting if you want to put the effort in, you can build your business. The sky's the limit. We don't have a caste system in this country. I love that. Well, yeah, but it still is. It still is that. If you would like to put that in, it depends maybe on what your business is, but it's. Anyway, listen, there's another topic I would like to talk about. We didn't talk about this ahead of time, but I would like to. And this is about, I'm going to switch us back to Oregon. Bear with me. And there is a lawsuit about the ADA and the homeless. The homeless are just controlling the sidewalks, right?
Yeah. And how?
And if
how's a wheelchair supposed to get anywhere?
If you're handicapped, you are screwed. You're going to have to be in the road driving, going along with the I'm trying to get this posted. Here we go. Going along in the road with the vehicles. And I'll tell you, you know what? This is a story in hotair.com. And so there's a lawsuit in Portland, and I'll tell you what, I hope it takes down the homeless industrial complex, because it's a federal law that we have to have sidewalks are open, the Americans for Disabilities Act, that everything has to have that. Look at all the curb, look at all the every corner in Oregon for sure is all getting new ramps for wheelchairs and that, and so here you have a 66-year-old woman had a bottle thrown at her as she maneuvered around a Portland, Oregon homeless camp in a wheelchair. A 62-year-old Portland resident who relies on a wheelchair and a service dog was assaulted, spat on, sprayed with mace by homeless people in her neighborhood.
Really?
And according to the lawsuit, the city is failing to keep its sidewalks clear of debris and tent encampments, and failing to ensure the sidewalks are accessible to people with disabilities and visual impairments. How would you like to be blind? I mean, I don't want to be blind, but the blind person
Yeah.
that is walking with a cane or their service dog, and and they can't go down sidewalks. It is so bad. So the basic argument here is that the city is required to, by the Americans with Disabilities Act, to keep the sidewalks clear for the benefit of those with recognized visual or movement disabilities. And it's not done so. So kudos to who filed this lawsuit to force the cities to clean up these campments and get them the heck and gone off of the sidewalks and out from in front of people's homes in their neighborhoods. I mean,
Yeah. Can you imagine? I mean, I can't imagine. I can't. I would blow. I'd be in jail. I'd be in jail. I'd blow a gasket.
No, I can't imagine, David. That I feel the pain. I was watching a Portland TV channel and was listening about there were three neighbors on camera, three homeowners on camera talking about what has been going on in their neighborhood. And it showed their neighborhood from the air. And they said, you know what? We live in a beautiful city. Our neighborhood is beautiful. It's always been peaceful and nice. And then we got a vehicle that moved in. And then we got a trailer that moved in. Then we got a motorhome that moved in. And now look at what we've got. And they had them on the sidewalks on their homes. They said, we can't let the children be walking to school. We have to accompany them, and they're getting harassed. So no, I cannot imagine having this happen. And
No,
so
I can't.
the cities are failing to adopt or implement reasonable methods to get this done as required by the ADA and the Rehabilitation Act.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's clear that the people who are living on the streets are not concerned about the welfare of others, I guess. Regardless of how they got there, you've got to be. I mean, it's common courtesy, to let someone, help someone go somewhere. I mean, you hold doors open for people. You see somebody struggling in a wheelchair, you run over there and help them out. I mean, that's what people do. Right. But what you described, the kind of abuse that handicapped people have had, walking the gauntlet of the people that live on the sidewalks. I mean, that's just. I'm glad, hopefully the city. I listened to the lawyer, some guy named DiLorenzo, the guy that filed that. I listened to him on the radio today, and he said that the city will probably not fight it, and he said that there's a good chance they can come to some sort of plan of action to where they don't have to continue with the lawsuit and get the streets cleaned up. But it's gotten so out of control all over Portland that it seems like at some point in time there's a tipping point to where there's too much of it, and I'm not sure. Yeah.
So here's a list. Indeed, the city's most glaring violations are centered in Portland's Old Town, Chinatown, Downtown, Pearl District, and locations on the city's east side, including Central East Side Industrial District, the Lloyd District, and areas surrounding Laurelhurst Park, Lone Fir Cemetery, and Sunnyside Elementary School. This is not one area, This is
no, it's not. It's not. I mean, I don't go to Portland a lot, but the last couple times I've been, I've not been in any of those areas. Of note, I went east on Foster from 205, which is not any of those areas that were described. And it's just a solid line of, motorhomes and trailers and people living in tents and boats all along the thing. So it's everywhere. Any place close to a park, anywhere in Portland. It's out of control. And I'm not sure at what point, even with the political will, and there does not seem to be any among the Democrat leadership, quote leadership, unquote, in Portland to tackle it. But I think at some point in time, it becomes so big, I don't know how you tackle it. I guess you take the elephant strategy and just chew on a little bit of it at a time until you get them out of there. But I think one of the things that happens to cities that allow this to grow to the size is they end up chasing people all around the city.
Yeah, and not everybody wants to be there. There's a lot of people that do want help, and those that don't want help. And those three people that I had listened to, they said, you know what? The city came in to their neighborhood, and let's say out of 25, there was 18 that wanted help. The other 7 said, no, I don't want any help. Get the heck away from me. I'm happy to live like this. Well, you can choose to live like that, but you don't have the right to take over the sidewalk, to be defecating out in the public, to be defecating on the sidewalks, bring in, because they talked about now they've got rats in the neighborhood that they didn't have before because of just all the trash. I mean, there's a snowball effect of what happens with all of this.
Yeah.
But, frankly,
well, let's not forget on November 8th that the supermajority of Democrats in Salem passed a law in the state of Oregon allowing people to camp on public property.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And well, wait a minute now. That is actually, if you do not in your city or your county, if you do not have a homeless facility or because some cities or counties don't have homeless shelters and that. So they can only camp on your public property if you do not have services for them. That's my understanding of reading this. And so if you have services for them and they refuse to go, then you can kick them out of those public spaces.
Right. They just go a few blocks over. Somebody else's problem.
Well, this is true. But, I'll tell you what, today I watched Christine Drazen on Fox News. I'm going to post that story here because I saw her interview. And did you see that today, David?
No, I didn't, but I was reading Patty's comment. She said these people should be moved to the front lawns of those legislators. And I agree with that.
I agree too, as well. And just like the busing of the migrants up to where those people that have allowed this to happen on our southern border, much like that.
There's a large green space right in front of the Capitol, too, by the way, that they could camp on.
So today, Christine Drazen said, on day 1, I will make an emergency order for the homelessness to start cleaning this up. So I just posted her interview on Fox News. She was really good. She hit high points, giving her roadmap of what she wants to do, and she's got solutions. She doesn't have a mouthful of excuses. Oh, we can't do this or we can't do that, because the other 2 that are running against her are Democrats. I don't care that Betsy Johnson has changed some spots there, attempting to anyway. She and Tina and Kate Brown have all colluded to get us where we're at in Oregon today.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm surprised some people fell for Betsy Johnson's thing, but she's 100% Democrat. I mean, she's been a Democrat she's been a Democrat in Salem even longer than Kotek. So.
Yes, she has, and I'll tell you, it is amazing to me that some have gone along with Betsy. I'm the solution here, because she's not. She's not. It's going to be more of the same. It's going to be more of the same, and quite frankly, as I've said before, I do believe that Betsy Johnson is, I see her in my area, in my county, working to split the Republican vote
Yeah.
and end up with Kotek. So, because I don't think she has a chance in hell. But what's nice on this article that I just posted on Fox News is they are showing that Christine Drazen is ahead. And this is just wonderful. It truly, truly is. We really have a chance to get a Republican governor elected here in Oregon. And that will be great for our state on so many levels. You know what? We've got other seats to pick up, but we all have to unite and turn out the vote. We have to vote. You can't leave your ballot on the table. Hey, listen, I wanted to add there was, oh darn, where'd it go? There was a very good story here, I thought, and this is on Facebook as well, believe it or not. Here is a Facebook group has recovered stolen vehicles in Portland area. So after less than a year, there's 10,000 people strong, crowdsourcing members have helped find hundreds of stolen cars in Multnomah County. And that's a
Nice.
good thing.
That is a good thing. That is a good thing because when the Democrats that are in power defund the police and kneecap them and everything else, then it's up to you to fight crime.
Yes, and and I see people like even here in Umatilla County posting, "Hey, my truck was stolen," and of course, it's shared all over the place. We've got huge crowdsourcing abilities to find that vehicle. How many more eyes are on there? It's the Amber Alert for stolen vehicles, and so January to July of 2020, some 3,300 cars were reported stolen to the Portland police. 2 years later, over that 7-month period, the statistics are now double, 6,312 stolen cars in 2022 in 6 months.
That's 100 and some odd a day.
That's
a lot
amazing. That's amazing. And so here it is. The Facebook group is called PDX Stolen Cars. And it's so on one day it was 300 people, then it was 1,000 people, and then 2. And this is a great public service. People just being on the lookout for stolen vehicles, and let's catch the people that are stealing the rigs.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of stolen cars down here in Southern Oregon, and a lot of they end up usually out in the forest someplace. So when people down here that are out in the forest and they come upon a car, they take pictures of it and post it and say, "Hey, if you're missing your car, here it is."
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, I mean the forests are just absolutely stuffed full of cars in various states of disassembly and all kinds of stuff. It's really gross out there. I mean, it's you come, I ride my motorcycle through, the dirt roads and stuff, and you can come around a corner and then there'll just be an encampment with dozens of cars that have been stolen, partly disassembled, burned out motorhomes, and God. That's our sidewalk camper problem down here is we have people camping out in the woods, which is a good place. But
yeah. So Marjorie says she tried to buy a hat or a t-shirt for Christine, but couldn't find it. Go to christinefororegon.com. christinefororegon.com, and on her website, I believe you can order shirts and hats, whatever's on her website there, christinefororegon.com. So,
yeah,
hey, David,
we're less than 60 days away.
We are. I'll tell you, she's going to be over here at Roundup and in Pendleton next week. I'm very happy. I know she'll be here for sure on Thursday. We've got a Republican booth in the Dairy Queen parking lot. She's going to be at our booth from like 11:30 to 12:30 ish, around in there on Thursday, the 15th of September. And then on Friday, she'll be in the Westward Ho Parade as well. So I'm very happy that a friend of mine was able to help me get a buggy for her to be riding in and be in the Westward Ho Parade. So that's going to be
Sweet.
nice having her over here.
Sweet. Yeah, it sounds like fun.
Yep. Well, Dave, any last words?
I don't really have any last words today. And that's probably good.
Okay, so everybody, I'll have the last words I have are talk to your friends, family, and neighbors. We've got to band together and elect Christine Drazen as our next governor. And and vote Republican down the ticket. We've got a lot of seats that we can pick up in our area. And remember, if you agree 80% of the time with the candidate, that's a great thing. We'll never agree 100% of the time. And nobody passes that litmus test. And
Yeah.
don't mail your ballot. Turn your ballot in to a ballot drop box on election day. We can force the state to go back to election day by doing that. Everybody turn their ballot in on election day.
We can do that. Of course, you'll have 20 days of unrelenting phone calls from the campaigns. So there's that.
But you know what? You just say, "Don't worry, I'm holding it. I'm holding it, and I'm going to turn it in the ballot box, drop box. I'm not mailing it. I'm holding it." That's all you got to say. I got it. That it's going in.
Right.
Hey,
right.
everybody, have a great weekend. And just, my heart goes out to everybody that's affected by the fires. There's a lot of wildlife out there that are affected by that as well, and by the smoke and the power outages.
Yeah. Have a great weekend, everybody. Hopefully, you're not in the crossfire for either fire or smoke, but if you are, you're an Oregonian, so you're probably used to it.
Night.